Hello and welcome to the first episode of Geek-Minded Fools, rising phoenix-like from the ashes of I Actually Quite Liked It. My name is Graham.
And I'm Scott.
So, Scotty, it's just you and me.
It is just you and me. It's calm and quiet. A lot less idiocy. Or maybe a lot more idiocy.
Maybe so.
I don't know.
For any new listeners out there, we thought we'd give you a bit of a background on Scott and myself and our friendship, how long we'd known each other. When did we meet? It was about...
You're going to have to take the lead on all
this
the years.
Is true.
And things,
it was,
unfortunately, on my
19
mind.
years ago. 1996 we met.
Is it that long ago?
Yes.
But not quite 20 years.
No, not quite. But yeah, but in the Railway Garden? No, in the Rising Sun.
Rising Sun pub.
In the Rising Sun in Epsom. Yeah. You were working behind the bar.
I was working that bar like Tom Cruise in Cocktails.
And I think it became pretty clear from early doors that you and I were going to be friends. We've kind of just bonded over our love of comics and
sarcasm,
movies and horror films particularly, and we just seem to have very much the same taste. I mean, in many ways we have quite different tastes as well. I think...
Well, yeah, you got married, had two beautiful kids, and I'm basically a 38-year-old
sad
college
loner
student who lives in one room. What's even sadder about that is I describe myself as a college student. I've never been to college. I was too lazy.
I would say you like more of the darker end of the cinematic scale.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
You enjoy sort of your grimy horrors and your sort of offbeat films, and I'm probably more of an Indian stupid comedy kind of man.
An Indian stupid comedy man?
Indie.
Oh, indie. Oh, as in indie, yes. Yeah. If you were Indiana Jones, I'd be Reanimator. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely.
I'd be Jeffrey Combs in Reanimator.
Yeah. What do you consider to be your speciality? What are you going to bring to the table in this podcast?
Well, I'm devilishly witty. No, my areas of expertise and interest, mainly gaming and movies, but in particular horror movies. I do love my comics, but I don't read enough of them. I rely on Graham to...
Or any of them.
No, I rely on Graham to basically keep me informed on the comic book world. It's either that or, Marvel are doing such a great job now bringing the movies out. I don't have to worry anymore.
This is true, yeah.
But yeah, I'm much more in the cineverse, whereas you'd be in the comic verse, wouldn't
Absolutely,
you?
yeah. I'm the true comic geek of the two of us. Huge Spider-Man fan, also love Daredevil, Hawkeye. I'd say if I had three favourite characters, it would be those three. And yeah, much like yourself, big movie fan. Love a documentary, as was often covered in the previous podcast. And I think, we're both big fans of TV shows.
Anything that's going to take me outside the mundane existence of my real life, basically. If I can watch The Flash for 45 minutes or 40 minutes, however long the episodes are, then I'm happy.
Absolutely.
Things like that just fill me with joy until they end, and then I look on BBC News and someone fresh has been shot or blown up. And then they make a film about it. And then I'm happy again.
Right, okay, well, we thought for the first episode, rather than dive straight into what is to be our usual format, we thought we'd have a look forward to all the good stuff that's come in 2015. I mean, 2015, from a geek perspective, does seem to be
huge.
A jam-packed year. We have plenty to look forward to. Primarily, I think, from a movie front, there's so many big movies coming. So we thought we'd just talk about what we're looking forward to, maybe some stuff that's coming that we're not looking forward to as much, but really needs to be covered from a geek perspective.
It's doubtful, but some of you listeners out there might even hear things you didn't know were coming out, and you might go, "Shit, that's coming out."
Maybe so.
If that happens, I'll be very, very happy. I'll be happy to have reported the news.
Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Yeah. Looking good.
Yeah, I mean, the first Avengers film is right up there with my favourite comic book films, and I think for Marvel to do it the way they did it, to launch all the major Avengers characters individually in their own films, was a very gutsy move. Obviously, Iron Man blowing the roof off the expectations was a huge bonus for them. But to launch Thor in his own film, to launch Cap in his own film before bringing them together is something that I think DC wish they were able to do, whereas I don't think that DC characters have the clout. And I think...
Did you like the first Thor film?
I did.
You did like it?
I actually liked it because...
Sorry to jump in on you.
No, it's fine. I've collected Thor in the past, comic-wise.
From school.
But I've never been what I consider a huge Thor fan, and I didn't have great expectations for the movie. And maybe that's why I enjoyed it as much as I did. No, I thought it was very good. I think sort of both Thor films have pretty much been stolen by Tom Hiddleston as Loki.
He is very good,
fantastic.
I was always a bit upset for Idris Elba though, because there's not much for him to do, is there?
No,
and he's a great actor.
Yeah.
Pacific Rim excluded, obviously.
Yeah, well, yes,
because that is not a great performance.
No. But as you say, it's a limited role. You know, there isn't a lot you can do with it. But I think what's happened now in the Marvel Universe, obviously spinning out of Captain America, Winter Soldier, with S.H.I.E.L.D. going down, means that the Marvel Universe is a lot darker place.
Yeah. And you obviously have followed the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show, which
absolutely.
I haven't. I only got X amount of episodes in and need to catch up.
Yeah, I think the fact that you're able to carry on some of the momentum from films on an ongoing basis is very much groundbreaking. But seeing the trailers for Age of Ultron, I think, you know, probably the standout thing is obviously the Hulkbuster Iron Man outfit,
which we have seen
on the Hulk
already previously in Iron Man 3, albeit very brief.
Very briefly, yes.
In the world's most ridiculous reason to have the Hulkbuster armour come out, the Hulkbuster armour comes out to hold up that tower, doesn't it? And then at the end of, spoilers if you haven't seen Iron Man 3, he destructs all the suits. Why didn't the fucking tower fall down?
But yeah, I think from a geek perspective, it is just going to be a massive film.
It looks like they can't do any wrong at the moment, Marvel.
Absolutely.
I think when the first Captain America came out and Thor, me personally, I thought it's a bit of a shaky start, wasn't it? Little for me anyway. Captain
you
America.
weren't a fan.
It was not that I wasn't a fan. It's just I wasn't as blown away as I wanted to be.
Right.
And then obviously when you got your next level of movies that started coming alongside them, like Thor 2, I thought was absolutely brilliant. What was Thor 2? The
Dark World.
The Dark World. I wanted to call it the Lost World then, but now that
no,
that I thought, which I don't mind the Lost World.
It's a terrible film.
It's not a terrible film.
It's King Kong with a T-Rex.
Yeah, brilliant. There's a brilliant scene in the Lost World where all the Japanese people are running away. And that's a brilliant scene because they're kind of doing the whole Godzilla joke. I like that. I like that joke. And I like The Lost World, but we'll discuss that another time.
I'm sure we will.
The first Captain America, I thought again was good, but it didn't blow me away. And I think
fantastic.
I think in part, I still can't get my mind around skinny Chris Evans. It's a bit scary if I'm honest.
That was a bit of a distraction, but I thought them teeing up the whole idea of him not having the physical attributes, but having what it takes in terms of guts and in terms of intelligence. You know,
the scene when he jumps on the grenade is brilliant.
Yeah. And before that, you know, with a person who can get that flag, can ride back in the Jeep, and everybody's trying to climb the flagpole, and all he does is pop it down and sort of jump in.
But yeah, the Age of Ultron, I can't see it being anything other than a massive success. There's some cool little bits in the trailer as well, like your red-eyed Hulk.
Yeah.
Which I'm assuming is going to be Scarlet Witch. I don't know. I suppose putting him in a spell of some sort.
Don't know.
Who knows?
We shall see.
I think most exciting thing for me about Age of Ultron, and it's a really tiny thing, but I'm really glad that Paul Bettany has got a little bit more to do this time because he's going to be Vision. That's right, is it?
Yes.
Is he Vision or the Vision?
Comics, it is the Vision.
The Vision, yeah. I think in this he's just referred to as Vision. Yeah. They've started releasing all the little single one-shot posters for it now, which I don't know if you've seen, but I mean they're all very good, they're all very nice, apart from the fact that Scarlett Johansson appears to be wearing what I seem to think is a Tron suit.
One thing that did puzzle me, sorry I went really high then for a
You
moment.
did? Is it because I spoke about ScarJo? Yeah. That's how all the hip kids refer to us, ScarJo.
And you.
And Cryhem.
One thing that I thought was odd was the fact that in Avengers she had the short curly bob, and yet for Captain America Winter Soldier she suddenly went for the long straight look, and yet for the Avengers film she's back to the short curly bob.
There's also a bit in the Ultron trailer where there's obviously a flashback, isn't there? And she's made up to be quite young.
Right, okay.
And she's been forced down on a bed by another woman, which I'm well up for. I mean, I can't imagine that scene's going to play out how it has in my head. But one thing I will say about the posters they released, if you've seen the Iron Man one is absolute trash. It's so different to all the other posters they've released,
right.
And it just looks like he's superimposed on a background. Okay. I don't know why they've done it. So Marvel people, if you're listening, all your posters really good, but the Iron Man one, you need to tweak that because it looks shat.
Okay. Right.
What's next up on the list?
Next one I've got on the list is one I know that you are chomping at the bit to see, Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh yeah, big fan of Mad Max. So just every single one of them. Don't care what anyone says. All three of them are brilliant films.
Yeah.
All three of them. Tina Turner, she's brilliant in Mad Max 3, Beyond Thunderdome. She is brilliant. Raggedy Man. If I had the energy, I'd stand up and do my private dancer for you. But
Please don't.
no, I'm not going to. Yeah, just wow.
Yeah.
The trailers. I'd be quite satisfied just to. I could wait for years after seeing that trailer now, because it's been so long coming anyway.
The only thing that I would say about the trailers is you look at the trailers and what you're seeing in terms of, because the film's obviously set in this dystopian post-nuclear future. The new film looks exactly like the old film because it's jazzed up cars and it's deserts and it's explosions and it's fighting, and obviously CGI, you're going to be able to ramp up the action to a much greater degree. In terms of people with their face painted going straight to the camera, it's almost like it hasn't skipped a beat. It's kind of just sort of as it was, and I'm not saying that as a bad thing. No. It's just an observation. How are you feeling about Tom Hardy taking it?
I like him.
Yeah.
I've always liked Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
I've liked Tom Hardy from the very beginning of his career. I think he's been a solid actor all the way through. I know people didn't like him as Bane. You can all go fuck yourselves, because I thought he was very good. I really enjoyed his portrayal of Bane. I love him in Inception. He's the best thing about Inception, in fact, the short time that he's in it. I saw a movie a few nights ago called The Drop, which was one of James Gandolfini's last films with Tom Hardy. He's just amazing. If you get a chance, please watch The Drop. It's a great film. But back to Mad Max. You said about all the guys would have painted faces and roaring at the screen and things like that. That's exactly what we got in Mad Max 2. I'm not going to call it The Road Warrior because I'm not American. Mm-hmm. It's Mad Max 2. Yeah. That's exactly what we got in Mad Max 2. And George Miller coming back, and bringing this to fruition finally. He's wanted to do it for years. Mm-hmm. You can tell he's still got the same vision he had, all those years ago after filming probably the second of the three films.
Yeah.
Mad Max 3 does tail off a little bit. I'll admit it does go a little bit silly, but that's all in part of the whole bit with the kids. But then, where he finds the kids, that was because that was going to be a separate film.
Yeah, but then wasn't that more because of the time and the fact that it had gone far more mainstream? The first two still had very much a smaller budget independent film about them, whereas 3 was almost it being delivered to the masses, and therefore it almost not softened it up, but it kind of
it was Mad Max 3 was more palatable and more accessible for people who read, glossy movie magazines, whereas Mad Max 1 and 2 were midnight movies, weren't they? They were Ozploitation, and done brilliantly. Mm-hmm. Whereas Part 3 became a little bit more Americanised. There was probably American money in there. Obviously, Tina Turner's in there. Angry Anderson. Who some of our older listeners will remember from doing the Scott and Charlene song from Neighbours. He's a strange little bald man. That's probably why they cast him, because he does look like someone you just come across in a desert. But Mad Max, I'm fully on board. I hope it starts a brand new franchise. I hope Tom Hardy stays on board and they do sequels. Obviously, the proof will be in the pudding, but from what we've seen in the trailer, I think it looks absolutely jaw-dropping.
Interesting cast as well, sort of Charlize Theron, an unusual piece of casting, and probably casting against...
The best part about the casting is Hugh Keys-Byrne, isn't it? You've got the toe cutter from the original is back.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he's not obviously playing the toe cutter because, spoilers, he died. But to have him back in that franchise with the original director, if you are a fan of Mad Max, you're going to be there on opening night. You're going to see it. You're going to pay your money to see it. It's going to do well no matter what. I think what's the saying? Absence makes the heart grow fonder. I think it's been absent long enough, and I think all involved.
30 odd years.
30 odd, yeah. I think anyone who's seen the first two at least will be chomping at the bit to see it, like I am.
Super. Right, next one I've got, Tomorrowland, which I think the trailer for, one thing that they're saying is that Disney are very much playing their cards close to their chest on this one, not releasing a huge amount about the story.
And this is what I said to you because we obviously discussed what we're gonna talk about in our podcasts. And I said to you, well, I don't really know a great deal about it. And you mysteriously said to me, yeah, but nobody does.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay then. I still don't know anything about it,
but the trailer, just the whole bit of the girl checking out of the prison and touching the badge or the pin.
Yes, and she disappears. And then,
she's into the cornfield.
Now, is it Brad Bird or is it J.J. Abrams? Or is it neither of those two people who directed it?
I don't know. You're the man with the iPad.
But it's Clooney, isn't it?
Yes.
Who I love. I love Clooney. I'll let him slide for his bat mistake.
His bat turd.
His bat turd, indeed. Interestingly, Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Very famous, isn't it, for the nipples on the suit?
Yes, absolutely.
And it's also got Alicia Silverstone, isn't it, as Batgirl?
Yes.
No nipples on her suit. What the fuck were they thinking?
They'd have probably had a hard time explaining that one away.
Well,
I mean, the thing about Clooney in that was, I think even before the film came out, you kind of knew that it wasn't going to be great, simply because one of the early interviews Clooney gave after being cast was that he was going to play Bruce Wayne as a lot happier character, because he was saying, you know, the guy's a millionaire with beautiful women on his arm. What's he got to be upset about? And it's like, if you don't know that, then you don't know anything about the character of Batman, and therefore why the hell are you playing Batman?
Effectively, he was playing Tony Stark.
Well, pretty much, yes. Yes.
Billionaire, philanthropist, playboy.
Yeah, rather than this tortured soul who fought crime because he had to.
Director of Tomorrowland is Brad Bird.
I
was right. So he's the guy who brought us The Incredibles, one of the Mission Impossible movies, I think 4. Like 3 or 4.
Right.
Yeah, he's the man who saved Pixar, isn't he? Brad Bird.
Absolutely.
Well done to him. He did save Pixar. Not that I was overly interested in Pixar being saved. I like the fact it exists, but it's not really my chosen genre of movies. Tomorrowland, because I know so little about it, I can't really get excited about it, and I think sometimes that's going to damage a film.
Yeah,
I think you need to be very, very measured with what you release regarding.
Whereas with me, I'm the sort of person who, if you can intrigue me enough or impress me enough with a trailer, then regardless of what happens, I want to go there to make my own mind up.
Yeah.
Trailers are all about, you know, getting that hook in your lip and reeling you in. And I would say that trailer did it, because I think it shows that there's a hell of a lot of good stuff going on there, but, you know, doesn't give a great deal away about the plot and the storyline. And I think, you know, I'm intrigued enough to want to know more.
I mean, I would say probably the plot and the storyline are going to be extraordinarily well written, well put together. You know, an interesting story, being as the fact that Brad Bird turned down directing Star Wars to do this. So he must see something in this that he can build on. I think when it was first announced over a year ago, Tomorrowland, I think there was a big rumour it was going to be something to do with Walt Disney, about his life or something like that. I could be wrong. For that one, I'm going to have to. How do they say it in America? Plead the fifth. Say nothing about it, because I don't know enough about it to get excited. But you know, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. What else is coming in 2015?
Next one in 2015, Scotland. I've got Jurassic World.
Jurassic World.
The Lost.
The lost world of stuff. What's not to get excited about? Dinosaurs and Chris Pratt.
Absolutely.
Incidentally, you know Chris Pratt is up to play Indy, didn't you? How do you feel about
that? Do you know what? I'm kind of past caring about all of these silly things and reboots, and you know.
Would you watch Chris Pratt as Indy? Sorry to just dive off the subject for 2 seconds, but. Bear in mind, we've had River Phoenix have played him at one stage, didn't he? In a flashback, and then they did a whole TV show, didn't they? Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, was that right? Who played him in that?
That was what's his name?
Was it a career killer?
No, it was the guy who was in Boondock Saints with Norman Reedus.
Was that Sean
Patrick Flannery?
Was that him?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, we are going to have a discussion one day about the Boondock Saints. We're going to have a discussion.
I don't
it was Sean Patrick Flannery. No, we're going to have that discussion one day. Yeah, it was Sean Patrick Flannery. That ran for a fair old while, didn't it?
Too long.
Did you watch it though?
No, I've watched about 2 episodes, and it was just.
I always like that scene in Indy 3. It is with River Phoenix, isn't it? In Indy 3. I love that scene. I think that's so brilliantly and lovingly done, even down to the little scar.
And see, what I didn't like about it was that everything, well, not everything, but so much that you associate with a character apparently happened in 5 minutes. I.e., he got the scar, he learned how to use a whip, he got his fear of snakes. You know,
I quite like that.
It just annoyed the piss out of me. I'll be completely honest.
I quite like that, and I always really, really liked River Phoenix as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, we've gone a little bit off track. That was my fault. I apologise. Jurassic World.
Jurassic World. I mean, trailer looks good. You know, there's a couple of cheesy bits. You know,
what are the cheesy bits for you?
The kids going along in the little hamster ball.
I like that. I can't see why they'd ever allow that to be put in a park full of big fuck-off dinosaurs.
Yeah.
But I like it.
And, sort of the whole dramatic, who could make the thing...
What are you
like
building
this?
in there?
Yeah, it's all, but, it's dinosaurs. Whether we needed a newly mutated dinosaur, it's almost like the threat in the first one was the T-Rex. Suddenly the threat in the second one was two T-Rexes. The threat in the third one was whatever it's called, the Gigantosaur or the Megasaur.
I will tell Dilophosaur? No, Dilophosaur's a spitter. I can't remember what it is. Our new one is the Indominus Rex, is it not?
It's like suddenly they're just sort of up in the ante, and I just think...
Spinosaur.
You don't need... There you go. So, you don't need to create stuff. There was enough shit scary dinosaurs around that you could bring out any number of those and make it pretty scary without having to genetically modify something. But, I think again, I've enjoyed... 2 aside, I thought 3 was considerably better than 2, but
which is funny because I think the second one's stronger than the third one.
See, I just
best thing in the third one is that scene on the runway.
Yes,
when the guy's got the big 50 cal sniper rifle thing, and he's trying. That's a brilliant scene. Now, that's the Spinosaurus.
I felt the second one was too long. I mean, the second one's about 2.5 hours. Third one's only an hour and a half, and I think that tells all the story you need to be told.
All I can say about the second one running time is I don't think there's a film that could ever be too long that's got Jeff Goldblum in. Apart from maybe the what's the movie we discussed a few weeks ago in the car?
The tall guy.
The tall guy. The tall guy. We were discussing that because Bradley Cooper's just played the Elephant Man on stage, hasn't he? He's not an animal. Yeah.
I need to get to hospital urgently. Oh my God, yes.
Do you reckon Bradley Cooper is working his way through the animal world? Because he's done raccoon, he's done elephant. Is there an animal called an American Sniper? There must be a snake called an American Sniper. Incidentally, if you haven't seen American Sniper, don't bother.
The snipe, really not good.
It's not great. Well, I didn't think it was great. I thought it was a little bit, let's all wave American flags and cheer our boys back home. But it's not great. And it's a shame because I like Clint Eastwood. I think he's a good director. Right. I liked Gran Torino.
Okay.
But yeah, Jurassic World, the big thing that people are up in arms about Jurassic World is the scene with Chris Pratt, who is he looks to be taming the raptors. Oh, okay. And also I've read somewhere that they've got 3 raptors that have had their claws removed. They've been declawed.
Oh, okay.
And he is the alpha male and will basically lead them. There's a scene in the trailer where he's on the motorbike, isn't he? And they're running alongside him. Yeah. I think he's leading them to help attack the Indominus Rex.
Okay.
I don't see why people are up in arms about it. I think that's quite cool. I think that's a good way to work around a brilliant character you've already got, the character being the Velociraptor. Yeah. We've said everything we need to say about the Velociraptor now. He's a nasty bastard. He'll cut your guts out with this, so, Absolutely. What do? Let's declaw them. It's something you do to animals, you declaw them.
I mean, surely, if you're telling a story about the fact that due to finding dinosaur DNA in a mosquito, you've managed to clone dinosaurs, recreate them, and have a theme park about it. Surely you've got to suspend any disbelief you may have. All bets are off. You can't suddenly say, well, that wouldn't happen. And it's like, oh, I see. So you're buying a theme park full of dinosaurs, but you're not buying velociraptors being tamed. It's, come on, just go with it for Christ's sake.
I will always suspend my belief with the Jurassic Park films. I think they're great. I don't think any of them have been bad. You're
love a dinosaur.
You're right, the second one is the weakest of the 3 current films, but, it's still a good romp. No?
Absolutely.
Good romp.
Good word. We love a good romp.
We love a good feckin' romp, we do. What else is coming in 2015, Greg?
What else indeed? Next up we have, and this is very much one for me, Entourage. I know it's not a TV show you watched, but I absolutely loved it, and I'm so pleased that it's coming to the big screen.
It's not a TV show I ever watched, you're right, but I'll tell you what, everyone I know who's seen it just raves about it and says it's amazing.
It's so good.
Not enough zombies or killing in it for me.
But
it's something I will eventually watch.
It's sort of loosely based on the life of Mark Wahlberg, and his funky bunch.
Is that really what? So I never knew that.
Yeah. He was an executive producer on the show because whenever he used to go to films, he would always turn up with his entourage, with his friends, who he grew up with. And therefore, suddenly, somebody thought, hang on, this would make a good show. A star trying to break it big and having his posse with him.
And he's actually in it as well as he's in the film as himself.
Yes, and he was in the TV show a couple of times
was
as well.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. It tells the story of Vinny Chase, who's an up-and-coming actor from New York, and his entourage, which basically consists of his half-brother, Johnny, who's called Johnny Drama. Played by Kevin Dillon, who's a fantastic character, most famous for being in Viking Quest.
What, the character?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you was going to say, because I think he's most famous for being Matt Dillon's brother, isn't he?
Yes, indeed.
And being in a remake of The Blob.
But no, Drama was in this sort of cheesy sci-fi TV show, and occasionally people come up to him who are sort of geeky fans of that. You've got Turtle, who started off being this big chunky guy, but in the movie has now lost a hell of a lot of weight. And then you've got Eric, who was Vinny's sort of manager for a while and his best friend. But the best character in it, and I still maintain one of the best characters ever in the history of television, is Jeremy Piven, not as Mr. Selfridge, but as Ari Gold, who's Vinny's agent, who is just superb. He is... I'm sure he's actually playing a pretty bang-on representation of a Hollywood agent, but he is just hilarious. His relationship with his assistant Lloyd is fantastic. The catchphrases that he comes out with, let's hug it out, bitch, stuff like that. It's just fantastic.
Because he's based on a real guy as well, isn't he?
He's actually based on a genuine one, but yeah,
another Ari Emanuel,
right?
Another big agent.
But yeah, it's just a great show. It ended brilliantly, but as soon as I heard there was going to be an Entourage movie, I was like, please God, yes. I'm just so looking forward to seeing the gang back together, and it's going to be great. So.
Is Entourage the male version of Sex and the City?
No, because Do
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Without being disrespectful to Entourage, because I think it's probably got a hell of a lot more...
it isn't telling the story of a bunch of women who are trying to live their lives and careers in New York while sort of reporting on their various relationships, which I'm guessing what Sex and the City is about because I've never actually seen it. But Entourage is effectively a behind-the-scenes Hollywood story that just happens to focus on a guy and his friends, and they're his friends who he's brought with him from his sort of humble beginnings in New York. And I can't see how you could compare the two, other than to say one is a cast full of women and therefore the other one's a cast full of men, but I don't think you can compare the two.
Good, I'm glad, because it is something I will watch eventually. And I guarantee that when I do get round to watching it, I will watch the whole lot in 3 days.
You will love it, absolutely.
Again, much like Tomorrowland, I can't get overly excited about it because I don't know enough about it.
Exactly, of course not. No,
but I reckon it's going to do well, though.
I wanted to give it an honourable mention.
No, I think it deserves an honourable mention. I reckon it's going to do very well, and I do actually. Adrian Grenier, who plays Vincent Chase.
Yeah,
I'm 4 days older than him.
Oh,
he was born on the 10th of July, 1976.
Bless you.
So we're the same cut from the same cloth.
Cut from the same cloth. Yes.
So if you want to do the maths there, listeners, 4 days older than him.
Does that make me E?
Do you know what? Do you know what's even funnier?
Go on.
I've done the maths wrong. I'm 6 days older than him because he was born on the 10th. I was born on the 4th.
You've done exceptionally well.
I've done exceptionally well. 4th of July 1976. If anyone wants to send presents.
Next up on the list, I've got Terminator Genesis. What do you think?
I don't know what's next up on the list. I could not give two short shits, to be honest. For me, the Terminator films finished at Terminator 2.
Yeah, I mean, I will be honest, there hasn't been a great one since then, but I am a little intrigued by this whole
I'll watch it.
idea of sending somebody back and changing history based on that. And one bit in the trailer that, you may think is cheesy, but I kind of liked it, was them saying, you have to go back and find my mother. She's at the most vulnerable point of her life. And then she's the one pulling up at the guy and saying, get in if you want to live.
Yeah.
And I just like that kind of thing. I mean,
I do.
Yes, it could suck having an old Arnie. You can't say... I mean, I don't know quite why a Terminator is aging, how they're going to explain that away.
They do, and I have read about it, but it was so very, very contrived. Right. I can't quite remember.
I'm sure, but yeah, I'm game. I think sort of films like that are the sort of things that you rock up to the IMAX, And
go, shit, I paid 20 quid for this.
But it's bubble
It'll be an
gum.
experience.
It's bubble gum for the eyes. It is just a stupid, big, high explosion. Not every film needs to be Citizen Kane. Not every sort of film needs to be Watchmen. Needs to be heavy and make you think. Some of them just need to make you go, whoa, that guy just got canned.
I have got a message though for the makers of Terminator Genesis. And that's just a very simple message.
Why?
Well, that kind of comes into it, yeah, but that is not how you spell Genesis, okay? That is not how you spell Genesis at all, and the only reason I can think you've done this is in case people thought you were releasing a film about Arnold Schwarzenegger going back in time and killing the prog rock band. I mean, it's do you know the scariest thing about it is it's got a good cast, bar one. You've got J.K. Simmons in there.
Oh.
Who I love, he's now Oscar-winning J.K. Simmons.
Yep.
Jason Clarke, who was, I don't know if you know the actor, you'd know him if you saw him, but he was also in Zero Dark 30.
Okay.
And I just find him mesmerising to watch. He's such a good actor, but he's on board as John Connor. Mm-hmm. It's a good cast, but I'm just not fucking interested at all. Really, really not interested.
Okay.
But I will watch it. Because otherwise I can't slag it off. It's the only reason I watch the Harry Potter films, so I can slate them.
Right, next one I've got, and again, probably not one that you're overly excited about, Minions.
It'll be a good, as you said on the previous one, it'll be good popcorn cinema, good bubblegum for the eyes.
Yeah.
I know a lot of adults who like what I consider to be kids' films.
Yeah. And I
do.
I am one of them.
But I've got to be in the mood.
I mean, now I have 2 young children. I've watched more kids' films in the last year than I would have done in 10 previous lifetimes. But to me, Despicable Me, the 2 films, are among the smartest, the funniest, the ones where the kids love it, but there's so much in there for the adults, and it kind of winds me up when people say, but they put stuff in for the adults, but they did. I mean, adults can watch that and get as much, if not more, out of it than the kids. The kids love the slapstick stuff, whereas there's so much subtle humour for the adults in there. And I just think, the Minions are great characters.
They are very funny. They're very, very funny.
And I think, to have them playing on their own and to see the trailer whereby the Minions before Gru are always trying to find the most evil person, and yet due to their incompetence always end up killing that evil person, whether it's a vampire or Napoleon or what have you. And I just think that concept, and then sort of 3 of them coming to America to find the next evil master for them to serve. I think it's packed full of opportunities for humour and daftness, and I like that. With the sort of comedy films I like, I'm quite base, I'm quite broad.
Very much so. The character concept for the Minions is flawless. You can't deny that. They are extraordinarily funny. They've got a touch of the clangers about them, haven't they? Because they don't really speak in words.
Nothing wrong with that, son. Nothing wrong.
There is nothing wrong with that. It's one again that I'll wait to see on Netflix or something like that, but I can't see me not enjoying it. No. I think it would be wrong of anyone to say, it's going to be shit.
It's going to suck.
So it's a kids' film.
Absolutely.
Come on. It's a kids' film.
But it'll have plenty there for the
grown-ups. Very much so. And now talking about grown-ups, what have we got for me then now? What's next? Because the Minions...
We've got Ant-Man.
Yes. Yeah, I'm quite excited for Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Because I don't know much about the character.
Well, I think that worked for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, very much so.
And I think that's the reason. Obviously, this is a film that, going back to the time of Edgar Wright and Joe Cornish writing it and sort of being on board with the whole thing, it's almost like those guys picked it up because they knew that it was a lesser character, and therefore much in the way of Guardians, you can have a bit more fun with it, because you aren't going to have the fanboys saying, you need to get Ant-Man right because
you're not pissing on anyone's chips too much.
Precisely, how many huge Ant-Man fans are there out there? Yeah. The trailer didn't give too much away. It didn't sort of show, other than obviously, Michael Douglas having the...
Isn't Michael Douglas the sleaziest man on earth? Doesn't matter what he's in, he just looks sleazy.
Do you know what? I've always had a problem with Michael Douglas because of one thing, and that was... I remember reading a quote from him where he was complaining with the fact that some magazine, like People or something, had a list of the 50 hottest men on the planet, and he wasn't on it. And he was saying, I saw that list and I wasn't on it. And I thought, what am I, chopped liver? And I just thought, everyone who's on that list is saying, oh God, how embarrassing, I'm on that list. Because it's a stupid thing. You can't define the hottest man, it's something ridiculous. Yet he was upset at not being on it.
Yeah.
And I thought that shows a tremendous amount of ego and self-serving attitude to think, well, I'm hot and I deserve to be on it. Whereas really, you should be almost saying, well, I'm glad people don't see me as a piece of meat, and therefore maybe they're taking me seriously as an actor. I've kind of had a problem with him ever since then.
For me, Michael Douglas was only ever good in one film, and that was two films, the Romance in the Stone movies. I love him in those. I think he's really, really good in those films. But I've never seen him in anything where I thought, wow, you're amazing.
What's that one he did?
Falling Down was all right.
What was the one he did in the 70s?
The Parallax View? No,
the one with Faye Dunaway.
It was about reporters of some sort, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You sure it wasn't the Parallax View?
No, it wasn't. He was good in that though.
Let's find out, because I know the film you mean. I always remember it being advertised on Warner Brothers.
The China Syndrome.
It was the China Syndrome. It was the China Syndrome. You're right. Yeah. That's a much loved film. Is the China Syndrome?
Absolutely.
I mean, sorry to people who do like Michael Douglas, but I'm sure he'll do very, very well in Ant-Man as the older Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Is he Hank Pym? No.
Hank Pym was the original Ant-Man.
That's who he's playing.
Oh, he's actually Hank Pym.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, because Paul Rudd is playing Scott Lang.
Yes.
With Michael Douglas playing
who was killed in the comics by Brian Michael Bendis as part of the Avengers disassembled storyline, but then miraculously came back. And they've recently relaunched the Ant-Man title to reasonable acclaim and sort of good sales. You can't get issue 1 on eBay for much less than a tenner.
The one good thing I think that's going to come out of Ant-Man is it's a chance to see some great actors up on screen that haven't necessarily been in the Marvel Universe before.
Yes.
Evangeline Lilly, who I absolutely adore. She was in Lost, wasn't she?
She was indeed.
And she is a beautiful, beautiful woman and a great actress as well. Or Corey Stoll as well, who's in it as Darren Cross.
Okay.
Yellow Jacket, I believe he's going to play.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Do you know Corey Stoll? He was in... Did you see House of Cards?
No.
You haven't seen House of Cards? Well, he's in House of Cards and he's absolutely brilliant in it. And I mean jaw-droppingly brilliant. He's a great, great actor.
Okay.
So yeah, Ant-Man, excited, but it's not the most important thing in the Marvel Universe.
No. Okay. And next one we got, the Fantastic Four. The latest 20th Century Fox reboot of the franchise in order to keep the rights and whatever you.
It's nice. They've not gone the Roger Corman route.
I can remember when you first said to me, "Guess who's playing the Thing?" And I was like, exactly.
Yeah.
Skipping along to Town Called Malice.
Town Called Ben Grimm.
It's just odd. And of course the whole...
We got to tackle the elephant in the room.
Yeah, the whole black Human Torch and the white...
This is not a racist thing, listeners.
Woman,
this is not a racist thing at all. Before anyone wants to write or message us and say, well, they did it with Sam Jackson... They did, but only after they'd done it in the comics, I believe.
Yeah.
And that character in the comic was drawn and written and based on Sam Jackson. So that kind of made sense.
Yeah.
I suppose what I'm saying is, if the comic allows it, then the film can allow it. But has there been a black Human Torch in the comics? No, there hasn't. Not even in the Ultimate Universe, was there?
No, well, because Sue and Johnny have always been siblings.
Yeah.
And therefore of the same ethnic persuasion. Other than to say, hang on, you've got 4 characters here and none of them represent a minority, and therefore what can we do to sandwich in a minority?
Whereas the irony of it is they were all representing a minority because they were all different and they were all,
and I just think you're doing it for the sake of doing it, and that makes it worse than not doing it.
Yeah.
You are doing it to be PC, to say, we are going to be represented, but therefore surely you have to say, okay, well then Sue and Johnny can't be brother and sister. But yet, of course...
And she's the adopted one.
Well, precisely.
Because it's Reggie Cathy who's playing Franklin Storm, the Doctor, who again is a white character.
Yeah.
This is not a stab at Michael B. Jordan at all. He's playing Johnny Storm. He is a good little actor. He's very good in Chronicle, which I stand by wholeheartedly. I think it's a fabulous film, and if you haven't seen it, do watch it.
Didn't like it.
No. There's always going to be things that we disagree on, obviously, and much like the rest of the world. But he's very good, Michael B. Jordan. He's a good actor.
You can't fault the performances in that film, definitely. But
the only thing I think they've got right with Fantastic Four, if I'm honest, is Miles Teller as Reed Richards.
Right.
Who initially, when I saw him, I thought, But now the more I look at him, the more I think, do you know what? Yeah, you do. You are quite channeling the Reed Richards. You're channeling the Mr. Fantastic more so than Ian Grufford.
Yes.
Is that how I pronounce his name? Ian Grufford.
Isn't it sort of Ewan Griffith or something? When you actually say it. But
I don't know, but I do know somebody who went to school with him. In fact, you know somebody who went to school with him. We went to college with him. Okay. Sweetie Darling.
Oh.
Yeah. And she's still in contact with him. I'll ask her.
Okay.
I'll ask her. Toby Kebbell as well, who I absolutely adore, from Dead Man's Shoes, Rock and Roller. Now, he's a great actor. He's one of our finest exports, I think. Playing Viktor Domashev. I know. It hurts, doesn't it? It's alright, it's still going to be called Doom in it, but that's his screen name, because he's a hacker.
Oh, come on.
Should we leave it there?
Let's move on.
What else is coming in 2015?
Well, we got the big one. We got Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
Not interested.
Coming in December.
I don't really care.
Don't care about that. Never heard of it.
Don't care. Yeah, that's going to be exciting stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, obviously, Star Wars with lens flare. It's it is the one that everybody's excited about, and I think getting somebody like J.J. Abrams on board, who definitely has more of a finger on the pulse of.
Never dropped a bollock, has he? Really?
No. From his early days doing the Alias TV show and that sort of thing, to the various shows and films that he's been a part of. No, he definitely has a feeling for what the requirements are to be successful within the modern entertainment climate. And the trailer didn't give too much away. It sort of showed some cool stuff. It showed some stuff where you kind of went, yeah. But then,
what were the bits that made you go, yeah? Just out of interest.
The funny little round droid.
A soccer droid.
Going, yes. Sort of made me think. But then they saved the money shot just for the and the Falcon going up, and and obviously that's the one where you go, yeah, because before that it's all stuff that you're not familiar with, and then suddenly to show you an old favourite with the brand new square
radar dish
on it rather than the circular one, which of course got knocked off at the end of Jedi.
By
Lando. That was a teaser trailer. We're going to get more trailers as we go throughout the year. It's going to be huge. I think that the way that the Marvel comics have been going has shown that there's still huge interest in Star Wars. People are very fired up for it. People are wanting more. There's hardcore fans out there, but simply the people who grew up with it, and particularly those who were disappointed by the 3 prequels, are almost going to want to have them be redeemed by having a much better 7, 8, 9 and onwards. Obviously, they're talking about so many other sort of spin-off movie franchises coming, off than just, the main Star Wars storyline, is going to be.
I think it's going to be, for a film as big as it is, from a franchise as big as it is, I think it's going to be the little things that matter.
Absolutely.
In this film.
Yeah.
And if you look at the ships that you see, you don't see a great deal of them, but when you see the nose cones of the X-Wings, they're all grubby and dirty, and they look used, don't they?
Yeah. But those just flying along together, just low, it just looks fantastic.
A beautiful shot, isn't it? I read somewhere as well that for the stormtroopers' guns in this one, now obviously there's going to be CGI to add in the laser effect, but for the actors themselves, every prop gun had a gas canister put in it, so it would have actual kick when they fire
it.
Would
it actually go doo?
I imagine it will, yeah. That's always funny about that scene in Guardians of the Galaxy, isn't it? Have you read that about Chris Pratt when he said when he was filming one of the first scenes where he got to fire a gun, they had to he cost them so many thousands of dollars in film footage because every time he couldn't help but going pew pew. That's why we like Chris Pratt, because he's a dick.
Absolutely.
I think it's possibly the most exciting thing in the world for geeks of the world to unite about Star Wars, and I really hope that it doesn't turn out to be another episode 1.
And also, one thing that you made the point when we've spoken previously about Star Wars and the prequels was, it seems like he's going much lighter on the CGI and actually going with more physical effects and actually building things. Obviously, when we went to see Kevin Smith last year, he was saying that he'd been to the studio and had walked onto the Millennium Falcon set, and they'd literally built the whole thing. And he walked into the Millennium Falcon and he just burst into tears because it was the Millennium Falcon. And I think clearly they're going to be far more loyal to the original ones than the CGI heavy abortion that was the prequels.
If I had to pick one concern about the new film, it would be, has Carrie Fisher been out of this type of work for such a great amount of time now that it's going to feel awkward? She's going to find it difficult recreating that role. I have no qualms with Harrison Ford. He's going to step back into that, like an old pair of shoes, isn't he? I think Mark Hamill will be the same. But Carrie Fisher,
I think it depends how much they choose to use, because to me, if they use the original character sparingly, because they're all, in their 60s now, maybe some even more than that, and therefore, if they choose to use them sparingly and just as a bit of, oh my god, it's such and such in their back and it's great, but obviously the ones who are going to be carrying this story forward are going to be the youngsters, are going to be the John Boyegas from Attack the Block.
Yes. I was so trying not to do it. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, I have an affliction of whenever I mention John Boyega from Attack the Block, I have to refer to him as John Boyega from Attack the Block. Even after all these Star Wars movies have come out and none of the kids who go and see them have ever heard of Attack the Block, I'll keep referring to him as John Boyega from Attack the Block. Who, in the unlikely event that John Boyega is listening, I think you are fabulous, and I just think you're going to be a huge star, my friend. I've got an interesting fact for you about Star Wars.
Go.
Do you know after that film releases, Princess Leia will be the oldest Disney princess?
Ah.
Do you know, Graham, who the previous oldest one was?
The previous oldest Disney princess. What, as in age of the character when they appeared on the screen?
Yes.
It will probably be... Snow White.
No, it's Elsa from Frozen, apparently.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, there you go. A little bit. See, we bring the facts.
Okay.
We bring the interesting facts.
Technically a queen, but there you go.
Do you know what? I wouldn't know because I've never seen Frozen. I refuse to watch it after all those dicks put YouTube videos up singing. What is the fucking song? What's the song?
Well, there's Let It Go, but probably most.
You let it go.
Most of the YouTube videos are actually people singing "Love Is an Open Door" because people might
Love is an open door.
Yeah.
Well, don't let it hit you on the way out. Right. Anything else on the list of fabulous geek movies?
Well, no, that's it from a movie perspective. Obviously, there's other stuff coming out. We got some good shows that we're going to be looking forward to. We've had obviously the 12 Monkeys TV show has dropped.
Just debuted, yeah.
We've got a lot of good stuff coming back. Bosch is looking good on
Not
Amazon
unfortunately
Prime.
a show about a man who sells power tools. And I really thought it was going to be.
Sadly not.
House of Cards is back.
But yeah, you've got a lot of shows coming back after the mid-season break. Gotham and sort of Flash is ongoing, and you've got Arrow, and so yeah,
Flash has been brilliant as well.
TV-wise, it's a good time. But one thing I did want to mention was obviously fairly recently we had the latest previews out, which is the sort of big comic catalogue for stuff that's coming out in May, I believe, and of course you got Secret Wars. Secret Wars, for those who don't know, was pretty much the first big comic event. It preceded DC's Crisis on Infinite Earths, and it was basically the story of a big chunk of Marvel's heroes and villains were taken by a character called the Beyonder, and he created a world called Battle World, and basically asked them to fight each other to see who was the best. And they sort of managed to eventually take down the Beyonder and get home. But it was a groundbreaking 12-issue maxi series. Gave us such thing as gave us Venom, because Spider-Man got his symbiote black costume from Battle World.
That's where that came from, is it?
Indeed, it was. And so there's this huge event that they've been teeing up in the Avengers titles, and it's going to be an 8-issue mini-series, and basically the catchline is the final incursion is happening, the Marvel Universe is colliding with the Ultimate Universe, and neither will survive.
So this is not just a rehashing of the original Secret Wars.
No.
This is
because of course now you've got the Ultimate Universe. You've got various characters. You've got the Ultimates, which is the Avengers. You've got Ultimate Spider-Man. You've got Ultimate X-Men. You've got so many different versions. And apparently, it's all sort of coming together, and everybody's being sent to a new battle world. So issue 2 says, when the Marvel Universe is gone, all that remains is Battle World. Learn the secrets of this brave new realm in this special oversized issue.
And this will be 8 issues, no more, no less.
Well, no, because Marvel, in their inimitable style, are putting out lots of crossovers, lots of one-shots, lots of mini-series. You've got Ultimate End, 1 of 5, about the end of the multi-universe. You've got Master of Kung Fu is being relaunched. You've got Secret Wars Battle World. You've got Secret Wars Journal. You've got Deadpool Secret Wars.
You love Deadpool.
You've got Inferno's coming back, Infinity Gauntlet, Old Man Logan, Secret Wars 2099. You've got so much stuff, so they're absolutely throwing everything with a kitchen sink at this one, and it is going to be huge. And I'm not a big fan of what I consider to be the summer events. DC and Marvel both do something where everything changes, and it's either Avengers versus the X-Men, or it's Civil War, or it's Secret Invasion, the Siege. There's always something big that happens. And I've never been a big fan of it, but I'm quite interested in this one, because I was a big fan of the original, Spider-Verse, Secret Wars. And so, I was a huge fan. I bought Secret Wars back then. I bought Secret Wars 2 and all the various crossovers, which was the first time the story crossed over into individual titles, and really enjoyed them. And so,
it's a great way to tie all
give it a go.
Tie all your characters and your titles together. Isn't it?
Absolutely.
I mean, you cannot fault Marvel for their business sense.
Oh no, they know what they're doing, and they will.
And if at least 70% of the material is good, then they've succeeded.
Oh, absolutely. But the whole point they do is it's all about getting bums on seats, because you get people excited by the fact that all these amazing. Because I can remember, buying the first Secret Wars, and I had no experience of the X-Men at that time, and I had no idea who Wolverine was. And suddenly I'm buying this title because I knew Spider-Man and I knew Iron Man, and suddenly there's this Wolverine character, and you think, what's that? And therefore, next month you go and okay, X-Men, there's that Wolverine character, I'll pick it up. That's exactly what they want you to do.
Yeah, it's clever.
They want you to be a fan of 2 of those characters and walk away being a fan of 10 of those characters and picking up their books every month. And it works, and it continues to work. So if it didn't, they wouldn't do it. They had sales, and they do all the variant covers and all the spin-offs, and it's just a license for printing money. But there you go.
No, a big year then. A big year for comics, a big year for movies.
And I think a very exciting time for us to be launching a new podcast.
Are we launching a new podcast?
We are. This is it.
I thought we were just chatting.
Seems that way.
It does seem that way.
But we're going to be covering an awful lot of these. I think we're going to have several cinema visits together in our not too distant futures,
if your carer will allow you.
This is true.
I do just want to add as well. There is one more thing for 2015 that I am very excited about. Okay. It's rumoured that in October this year, now it's a fair way off, but hopefully by October 2015 we will have a Friday the 13th computer game.
Ooh.
There is no word on who the developer is. There is no word on who's actually putting the thing together, but it is happening. It is off the ground.
Now, Scott is obviously the huge gamer and the big horror fan, which is why in our logo he's the one wearing the Jason Voorhees mask.
I am in the Hawk
with the game controller in his hand. I'm the one obviously reading the Spider-Man comic and in the Hawkeye mask, and the reason for that is because my nickname amongst our little group is Hawkeye Graham.
It is indeed.
And the reason for that is that when we went to a Comic-Con a couple of years ago, George Perez was there, and being a huge Hawkeye fan, I wanted to get him to do a sketch on an Avengers blank cover for me. And the woman said, okay, what would you like? And I said, Hawkeye, please, the classic one. And she said, okay. And they said, and what's your name? And I said, Graham. And she took my details and passed it on to George. And I got a text about a couple of hours later saying, your comic's ready. And I went and picked it up and came back to the guys and pulled it out of the bag. And on it was a post-it note that just said, Hawkeye Graham.
And that's it.
It's stuck. So it has stuck. So that is why I'm wearing the slightly altered Hawkeye mask, but with a G on it instead of an H.
And we will be back at the Comic-Con.
We will. We'll bang out a couple of shows from the Comic-Con. It's the London Super Comic-Con at Docklands XL, which we're looking forward to. Again,
we will be attending. We've been to every one so
absolutely.
far, have we not? And I think we will continue to go because it keeps building and getting better every year.
Well, this is it, and the talent that they manage to get is always very impressive. So, we should be hooking up with a very good friend of ours, Mark, who I'm sure we'll invite onto the show.
Indeed, we will.
So I guess that's it for our first episode. Thank you everyone for listening. We're going to be putting these out on a weekly schedule. So next week's show will be very much getting back to our usual format.
Finding our way.
Absolutely. But which will just be chatting about things. We'll still be doing recommendations as we've done before, which we call quick hits. But it will just be us talking about topical news bits that are going on in the world of geekdom. But that's all for this show. So for Geek-Minded Fools, I've been Graham.
And I have been Scott.
Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next time.